So today we're going to be deep diving into a topic that I'm pretty sure is on many people's minds. The recent issues plaguing the iPhone and iOS, from delayed AI features to persistent bugs and hardware issues. Let's explore what's been happening with Apple's flagship device and why I think it's not the same iPhone as it once was. Take it from me, someone that once was the biggest Apple fanboy until I saw what Android offers. Remember when Apple introduced the revamped Siri with Apple Intelligence back in 2024? Features like personal context awareness and deeper app integration were promised for iOS 18. However, as of now, these features are expected to roll out with iOS 19. However, that's still like a rumor and not really confirmed. So a whole year of being delayed. This is such a big deal that there's actually a class action lawsuit against Apple. People are mad, and I get it. Now, to Apple's defense, they say it's a lot harder to integrate AI and actually make it on device and secure, but I'm a firm believer that people should decide for themselves which route they want to take. Kind of like Samsung does. On Galaxy phones, you can choose whether you want to use on-device AI or cloud processing, with the latter generally delivering better results. Here's an example that I posted to Twitter, which got over 30 million views. Sorry, Apple. Galaxy AI, also run by Google servers, got this result when tasked with deleting the remote from my hand. Well, iPhone, on the other hand, it did this. It just doesn't seem like Apple. I mean, look, if you've been using iPhone since the very first iPhone, you might already know, like, you're already used to that Apple quality that we've all come to know and love. But now it just seems like Apple is kind of going so far behind the competition, if I'm being honest. Companies like Google have integrated Gemini into basically every Android phone, and the updated version of it now allows AI to access your display to view what you're looking at, and you can even speak to it clearly. You know how the saying goes, Apple is always late to the party, but when they do something, they do it right. Well, is that still the case? I don't think so. iPhone with iOS 17 it's just still riddled with bugs, like the camera app would just randomly either freeze or just show a black screen, or if you're recording, it just skips along, and then you look back on your camera roll and you notice you recorded 0 seconds. How can I record 0 seconds? Other things that I've been running into with the iPhone 16 Pro Max is just the screen dimming randomly, even it's not hot outside. I mean, just check this out. So look, I've been out in the sun on this farm for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. The screen is so dim, I literally cannot see it, barely. Like, it's maxed out brightness, everything maxed out. I can't see the display. It's so hot. Like, look, you can barely see anything. That's crazy. Apple has stated that they improved the cooling on the new iPhone 16 Pros, but I don't think they did. If they did, it surely doesn't really make a huge impact on usability whenever you're outside. That's why I just stopped using my iPhone. I rarely use it. In fact, if my family switched over to Android, I probably would not use an iPhone, and that's just me being honest. I just don't see that Apple quality that I've known ever since my first iPhone, which was the iPhone 3GS. So I've been using them for quite a while, and it's just not the same anymore. When it comes to the overheating issue, I just wish Apple did what most other companies have been doing for years now, and that's to implement a vapor chamber. But no, I don't think they're gonna do that anytime soon. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. As you may know, Pixel phones suffered a lot from overheating. Well, the new Pixel 9 Pro series has a vapor chamber inside, and guess what? Overheating is gone. Another issue that I've been experiencing, including many others, is just random battery drain from the iPhone 16 series and even the 15 series, and, well, let's be honest, and pretty much every iPhone before then. Look, my Pixel 9a, a $500 phone, is outlasting my iPhone 16 Pro Max, but by not a little bit, by a lot. Even if we take a look at phones coming from overseas that are now starting to incorporate silicon carbon batteries like the OnePlus 13. This phone, being lighter than the iPhone 16 Pro Max, has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery compared to 4,685 on the iPhone. My OnePlus 13 can last me easily 2 days without worrying whatsoever. My iPhone, on the other hand, barely a day. I'm ending my days with like 10-15%. That's, I don't know. It's been a bug with iOS since as long as I can remember. Remember the older days of iPhone back again with the 3GS, the iPhone 4, 5, and even newer? iOS was nearly flawless. In fact, back then, iOS was considered by many to be way more stable than Android. It wasn't even a comparison back then, which is kind of what made me turn into an iPhone fanboy from the first iPhone. Anytime my friends had an Android phone and I used it for a quick second, I was like, oh no, I'm not using this. And I never did. In fact, my first Android phone was the S10 Plus. God, I missed that thing. But of course, as the years went on, Android hasn't only improved, but in my opinion, it has grown to be more stable than iPhone, as well as obviously giving a lot more features. Is Android flawless? Of course not. It depends on the skin you're using, it depends on the company, it depends how long the phone is supported for. But if we're talking about flagships, yeah, it's pretty stable. Apple has even tried to implement some of the features from Android over the last couple years, and honestly, I think that's when the bugs started to happen. Because you see, Android has been giving users the freedom to do whatever they want with their phones from like the first Android phone, so they've pretty much perfected it and kind of ironed out the bugs, whereas Apple, well, they just recently started doing it, and I think that's kind of why there are this many bugs. Just to put things into perspective, iOS 4 in 2010 was the first iOS that let users change their wallpaper. That's right, every iOS before that, you just got a black wallpaper and you can't change it. Android, on the other hand, well, they let you change your wallpaper literally from day one, like Android 1, like the very first Android. Or, you know, things like the always-on display. Well, Android had that first in 2016. Apple came along 6 years later and finally added it, of course, with some bugs initially. Bugs on iPhone and even with the ecosystem, it just seems to be like hand in hand nowadays. Like, even when I'm trying to AirDrop something from my iPhone to my MacBook, I press AirDrop, they're both connected to the same Wi-Fi, and it just says loading, 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 loading. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I cancel it, I press it again, boom, sends immediately. I have to always do that. Anytime I'm AirDropping the first time, it never works. I don't know why. Or when I'm trying to connect my iPhone to my Apple TV, it doesn't work. I don't know why. It makes me mad. And that's just not the user experience I remember growing up with iPhone. And it's honestly such a shame because the chip inside the iPhone is so darn powerful. It's so future-proofed. You'll be, you're good to go for the next 5-6 years using iPhone and it's still being a good phone. But the bugs, they just ruined the experience. There's no point in having such a powerful chip and then you just run into all these bugs because then it just makes you think the phone is slow, even though it's not, So, I don't know. These bugs just, it ruins iPhone for me. So if anyone ever asked me, hey, how's your iPhone experience? Well, I'll tell them it's been rough. How's iPhone been treating you? Do you like it? Do you hate it? How long have you been using iPhone for? Did you notice it getting better? Did you notice it getting worse? Let me know down in the comments because I want to know what you guys are experiencing. Maybe I'm the only one, even though the internet tells me otherwise. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed today's video, leave a like. It's free for you, but it helps me out a lot and I always truly appreciate it. And if you're new here and you like no BS tech videos, definitely subscribe. As always, this was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.